The alien playground was not like any playground on Earth. The ground was soft and glowing, shining with pale blue light. Trees with crystal leaves stood tall around the area, and small floating orbs of light drifted through the air like lazy fireflies. Alien children ran, laughed, and played, their voices echoing in strange musical tones. Some had scales, some had fur, and others had skin like glass. To them, this was normal. It was just another day of play, but today something unusual happened. Near the edge of the playground, standing quietly, was a figure no alien child had ever seen before. It was small like them, but not the same. His skin was pale pink, his hair brown and messy, his eyes round and wide. He wore a simple shirt and pants, and in his hand he held something shiny. It was a human child. The alien children froze when they saw him. Their laughter faded and whispers began. "Who is that?" One alien with glowing eyes asked. "Why is he here?" Another hissed, hiding behind a tall friend. "Is he dangerous?" A small one whispered, clutching its toy tightly. The human child did not move at first. He stood still, almost nervous, almost shy. His eyes looked at them with curiosity, but also with fear. He knew he was different. He knew he was not supposed to be here. One alien boy with green scales stepped forward, bold and brave. "You are human?" he asked, his voice trembling. The human child nodded slowly. He didn't speak. He only looked at them, his hands shaking slightly. The alien children looked at each other. None of them had ever seen a human before. Their parents had told stories about humans, strange stories. Some said humans were clever but dangerous. Others said humans were weak and strange. But no one really knew the truth. And now here was one standing in front of them. The silence grew heavy. The air felt tight. No one laughed anymore. Even the glowing trees seemed quieter. Then the human child moved. He reached into his pocket. The alien children gasped. Some took a step back, afraid he might be pulling out a weapon. Others leaned forward, their eyes wide, ready to see what this human would do. Slowly, the child's small hand came out of the pocket. In it was something bright, wrapped in shiny colors, red, gold, and silver. The strange object glimmered under the alien sky. "What is that?" the glass-skinned alien girl whispered. The human child looked at the object, then at the aliens. His lips curved into a small smile. Carefully, he unwrapped the bright cover. The sound of the wrapper crackled in the quiet playground. Inside was something small and sweet-looking. It was candy. The human raised it to his lips, took a bite, and chewed. His eyes closed with joy, and his smile grew bigger. The smell of sugar drifted through the air. The aliens tilted their heads. They had never seen anything like this. They had never smelled anything so sweet. "What is it?" one alien boy asked, stepping closer. The human child held the candy out toward him. His hand trembled, but his eyes were kind. He wanted to share. The alien boy froze. He remembered the warnings from adults. Never take strange food, never trust the unknown. But his curiosity burned brighter than his fear. His friends watched him, whispering nervously. "Don't do it," one said. "What if it's poison?" Another warned, but the brave boy slowly stretched his hand forward. His clawed fingers touched the shiny wrapper, and the human placed a small piece of candy in his palm. The alien looked at it, his heart racing. Everyone held their breath. The human child waited. The boy put the candy in his mouth. Silence. The taste exploded on his tongue. Sweetness, warmth, a joy he had never felt before. His glowing eyes widened, then sparkled. His face lit up with surprise. "It's good," he whispered. The other alien children gasped. They crowded closer, their fear melting into curiosity. "What does it taste like?" asked one. "Is it safe?" asked another. The boy laughed, still chewing. "It is amazing." The human child smiled wider. For the first time since he arrived, he felt less alone. The aliens looked at each other. Curiosity now beat fear. Step by step, they began to move closer, surrounding the human child, their eyes fixed on the strange treasure in his hand. And in that glowing playground under the crystal trees, something important had just begun. The human child had shared his candy. The alien kids would never forget this moment. The playground was no longer quiet. The alien children pressed closer, their strange eyes glowing with wonder. The human child stood in the center, small and nervous, yet holding the thing that had changed everything, a piece of candy. The first alien boy had tasted it and smiled, and that smile was like fire in dry grass. It spread quickly. The others wanted to know. They wanted to feel the same sweetness. Fear was still there, but curiosity was stronger now. The human child looked around at them. So many different faces, so many shapes, horns, wings, tails, claws. Some looked scary, but their eyes were wide and filled not with anger, but with longing. He understood. They wanted the candy. He reached back into his pocket. The shiny wrappers crinkled, the sound sharp in the quiet playground. The alien children leaned closer. Their voices whispered like the wind. More. Does he have more? What is that shining thing? Will he share it again? The human pulled out another piece, red and gold this time. He peeled the wrapper back slowly, letting the sound stretch. The sweet smell filled the air again, stronger now, making the aliens' mouths water. One alien girl, tall and thin with glowing silver skin, stepped forward. Her voice shook. Can I try? The human child hesitated. He looked at her, then at the candy in his hand. His heart was racing. Sharing was normal for him. On Earth he had shared candy with his friends many times. But here, these were not humans. These were strangers, aliens. Was it safe? For a moment he almost pulled back. But then he saw her face, curious, innocent, afraid yet brave. He smiled and nodded. Slowly he broke the candy in half and held one piece toward her. She reached out, her hand trembling like a leaf in the wind. She took the piece, held it close, and stared at it as though it was a treasure from the stars. Then carefully she placed it in her mouth. The playground fell silent again. Every alien eye watched her. The human held his breath. The girl chewed once, twice. Her silver eyes widened, glowing brighter than before. A sound escaped her lips, not fear, not pain, but laughter. Soft, musical laughter. It's sweet, she whispered. So sweet, the alien children gasped. They stepped closer, excitement bubbling in their voices. I want some too. Please, me next. Share with us. They crowded around the human child, reaching, begging, their voices overlapping. For a moment, the human froze. It was overwhelming. He was just one child surrounded by many, but he looked at their faces full of hope, joy, and wonder. And his heart softened. He dug deeper into his pocket, pulling out more colorful wrappers. Red, blue, green, silver. The candy sparkled under the alien sky. He began to hand them out one by one. Each alien who tasted it had the same reaction. Their eyes lit up. Their faces brightened. And their strange voices filled the air with laughter. They had never known sugar, never known sweetness. To them it was magic, and in that moment the human child was no longer a stranger. He was a friend. The playground changed. Where there had been fear and silence, now there was joy and noise. The alien children laughed, shouted, and clapped their hands, tails, and claws. Some even danced. They began to play around the human, pulling him into their games, eager to keep him close. One alien boy with wings flapped them excitedly. This is a gift. Humans bring gifts. Another with glowing horns nodded. Yes, he gave us sweetness. He is good. But not all were convinced. At the far edge of the playground, two older alien kids stood apart. Their eyes were sharp, suspicious. One whispered, "What if it's a trick? What if humans use food to control us?" The other narrowed his eyes. "We should tell the elders." The human child did not notice them. He was too busy laughing with his new friends. For the first time since arriving, he felt accepted. He felt safe. He reached into his pocket again. Only 2 candies left. He thought carefully. Should he keep them for himself? Or share the last pieces too? He looked at the alien kids around him, their glowing eyes full of joy. He knew the answer. He unwrapped the final candy and broke it into small pieces, passing them around until nothing was left. His hands were empty, but his heart was full. The alien children cheered. "More, more!" they cried. The human shook his head sadly, showing his empty pockets. "No more." The aliens' excitement quieted, but then they began to smile. Even without more candy, they were happy. The gift had been given, the sweetness tasted, the memory made. The crystal trees swayed gently as if they too approved. The glowing orbs above drifted lower, surrounding the children like stars. The playground shimmered with light and laughter. The human child stood among them, no longer alone, no longer a stranger. He had given them candy. But in truth, he had given them something greater, trust. And though none of them knew it yet, this simple gift would be remembered for a long, long time. The sweetness lingered in the air, carried on the alien wind. The laughter of children echoed across the glowing playground, mixing with the sound of rustling crystal leaves. For the alien kids, the world had changed in just a few moments. A strange creature, this human, had brought them something they had never known before. But not everyone had tasted the gift yet. The first boy with green scales still licked his lips, his glowing eyes bright with happiness. The silver-skinned girl still smiled, her laugh ringing softly. Yet many more alien children stared at the human child, their curiosity burning brighter with every passing second. One alien girl with small wings folded against her back stepped closer. Her voice trembled as she asked, "Is there more? Can I try too?" The human child looked down at his hands. Only a few small broken pieces of candy remained. He hesitated. He had never been surrounded by so many eager faces before. But then he saw the hope in her eyes. Slowly, carefully, he held out a small piece. The winged girl reached for it, her hand shaking. She sniffed it first, uncertain, then placed it gently on her tongue. Silence fell again. Every alien watched her. She blinked. Her wings fluttered once, then twice. A soft laugh escaped her lips. "It's sweet. Like light in my mouth." The alien children gasped, then shouted with excitement. More voices rose. "Give me some too." "My turn." "Don't forget me." They pressed closer, their strange shapes and colors surrounding the human child like a living wall. For a moment, fear flickered in his heart. He was small, alone, and different. But then, as he looked into their eyes, he saw no anger, no danger, only wonder. With trembling hands, he shared the last of his candy, breaking it into tiny pieces so everyone could taste at least a little. Each child who tried it reacted the same way. First silence, then shock, and finally joy. They laughed, they cheered, they clapped their hands, claws, or wings. The playground became alive with voices. The alien children danced around him, their laughter glowing brighter than the crystal trees. And then something changed. One alien boy, younger and smaller than the rest, had not spoken. He stood quietly watching, his large dark eyes filled with sadness. His hands were empty. He had not gotten any peace. The human child noticed him. The boy's eyes met his. There was no anger, only quiet longing. The human looked down. His pockets were empty now. No more candy, nothing left to give. But then he smiled. He walked to the boy, knelt down, and gently held out his open hand, empty but offered in friendship. The small alien blinked. Slowly, hesitantly, he placed his own hand against the human's. It was cold, rough, different, but it was warm in another way, the warmth of kindness. The boy's lips curved into a shy smile. That single gesture spoke louder than candy. It was trust. The other alien children saw this, and their laughter softened into quiet awe. The human was not only sharing candy, he was sharing himself. They began to surround him again, but not with demands. This time it was with joy. Some touched his shoulders, others clapped his back. A winged one circled above, singing a tune. They accepted him. For the first time he belonged. But not far away, hidden behind the glowing trees, two older alien children watched with narrow eyes. Their faces were not filled with wonder, but with suspicion. "Look at them," one hissed, his scales dark and sharp. "They trust him too easily." The other, taller with glowing horns, frowned. "This is how danger begins. A gift today, a trick tomorrow." They turned away, whispering plans. The younger children did not see, too busy celebrating their new friend. Back in the playground, the human child laughed for the first time since arriving in this strange world. His laugh was small, but it was real. The alien children echoed it, their voices blending together, different yet united. One of them shouted, "You are one of us now." Another cried, "Yes, human is our friend." The human child's heart swelled. He had come here afraid, alone. But now he was surrounded by smiles and laughter. The candy had been sweet, but this feeling was sweeter still. As the alien sun dipped lower in the sky, the glowing orbs floated higher, casting soft light over the playground. The children sat together in a circle, the human in the center telling stories with hands and gestures. The aliens showed him their toys, strange glowing stones and floating balls. He showed them his empty wrappers, which they treated like treasures, passing them around as though they were rare jewels. The playground, once divided by fear, was now united by a simple gift. Yet, deep in the silence of the trees, the watchers slipped away to tell the elders. The human child did not know it yet, but his small act of kindness was about to change more than a playground. It would change worlds, and though the candy was gone, the taste of trust remained. The alien playground was alive with laughter. Where once there had been silence and fear, now there was joy. The children who only moments ago whispered in suspicion now circled the human child with glowing eyes and playful smiles. The wrappers of the candy were passed around as if they were rare treasures. Some alien kids wore them on their claws like jewelry. Others tucked them behind their ears like shiny decorations. The simple crinkle of colored paper had become a symbol of something greater: sharing. The human child sat on the soft, glowing ground, surrounded by his new companions. He smiled shyly as they leaned closer, asking him questions in their strange voices. Some words he didn't understand, but laughter was a language that needed no translation. One alien girl with feathered skin tapped his shoulder. "Show us again," she asked, pointing at the empty wrappers. He laughed softly and shook his head. His pockets were empty now. No more candy. But the girl didn't look disappointed. She smiled anyway, as if the memory of sweetness was enough. The bond was forming. Something invisible but powerful. The human child picked up a smooth stone and drew a shape on the glowing ground. A circle. Then he pointed to the aliens, then to himself, and smiled. The alien children understood. Together, they cheered, their voices echoing through the crystal trees. One of them, a boy with wings, leapt into the air and spun, showering sparkles of dust that glowed in the twilight. Another with a long tail drummed on the ground, making a rhythm. The others joined in, clapping their hands, wings, or claws. The playground had become a celebration. But not far away, unseen by most, two older alien kids watched from the shadows. Their faces were stern, their eyes cold. "They are foolish," one muttered, his horns glowing faintly. "A sweet taste blinds them. They forget what the elders warned us." The other, darker and sharper, nodded. "Humans bring danger. Always danger. Today candy, tomorrow weapons." They turned and slipped deeper into the forest. Their footsteps were silent, but their mission clear. They would tell the elders. Back in the playground, the human child was unaware. His heart beat fast, not from fear but from joy. He was no longer alone. For the first time in this strange world, he felt like he belonged. The alien children began to share their own gifts. One with glowing horns handed him a small orb that floated above his palm, humming softly like a bee. Another gave him a crystal leaf that shone in different colors when tilted. They wanted to give something back, even if he could not eat them or understand them. He held their gifts carefully, smiling, nodding, showing he was grateful. His eyes sparkled with the same warmth he had given them. It was not candy anymore. It was friendship. As the alien sun dipped lower, the sky turned deep purple and the glowing orbs above grew brighter. The children sat in a circle again, telling stories with gestures, pointing at stars, laughing when their words became confused. The human child showed them how to fold the shiny wrappers into shapes: tiny birds, boats, and hats. The aliens gasped at his cleverness. They wore the shapes proudly, running around and showing each other. Their joy was simple, but in that simplicity was something powerful: unity. Yet, not all was safe. Far away in the halls of the alien elders, the two older children had already arrived. They spoke in hurried voices, telling what they saw. The human gave strange food. The others ate it. They laughed, but it could be poison. He tricks them with sweetness. He hides his true plan. The elders listened, their faces unreadable. Some frowned, others stroked their long beards or glowing crests. Suspicion filled the air like smoke. "Humans cannot be trusted," one elder muttered, but "children do not lie," another whispered. Debate began, quiet but dangerous. Back in the playground, the human child and the aliens laughed louder, unaware of the storm that was slowly forming beyond the trees. The winged boy clapped his hands and shouted, "You are one of us now." The others echoed, "Yes, one of us." The human child's heart swelled. He raised his hand, small and trembling, and the alien children raised theirs to meet his. Different hands, different shapes, but the same gesture. The bond was sealed. Above them, the stars twinkled brighter, as if the universe itself was watching. And in the quiet shadow of the trees, the glowing eyes of an elder flickered once unseen, before disappearing into the dark. The gift of candy had created a bond. But bonds can be tested, and soon they would be. The alien playground slept in silence now. The children had returned to their homes, carrying with them wrappers and memories. Their voices still rang in their minds, Sweet. So sweet. And their hearts still glowed with joy, but not all hearts felt the same. Far from the playground inside the great crystal hall of the elders, the atmosphere was heavy. The elders of the alien community sat in a circle, their faces glowing faintly under the light of suspended orbs. They were wise, old, and cautious. Their voices carried power, and their decisions shaped the rules of life. The two older alien children, the Watchers, stood before them. Their eyes darted nervously, but their voices were strong. "We saw it," one said, his horns glowing faintly. The human child gave strange food. "Yes," the other added, "and the younger ones ate it. They laughed, they played, but who knows what danger hides in the sweetness?" The hall filled with murmurs. Some elders frowned deeply, their hands curling around their staffs. Others exchanged worried glances. One elder, tall with scales of silver, spoke first. His voice was calm but stern. "Humans are clever. Too clever. A gift from them is never just a gift." Another elder shook her head. "But it was only food. Did any child fall ill?" "No," the older boy admitted. "They were happy. They were too happy," the horned one argued. "Happiness blinds. Sweetness hides poison." The room darkened with suspicion. At that moment, a third elder, older than all the rest, leaned forward. His voice cracked with age but carried weight. "We cannot ignore this. The humans have stepped into our circle. A child today, an army tomorrow." The words settled like heavy stones. Outside the hall, the alien children whispered in the streets. They told their families about the candy, about the taste that was unlike anything they had known. Some smiled with wonder. Others frowned with worry. In one home, a young alien girl with glowing silver skin tugged at her mother's arm. "Mama, the human gave me something sweet. It made me laugh." "It was good." Her mother stiffened, pulling her close. "Do not speak of humans so freely. They are dangerous." "But he was kind," the girl insisted. He smiled. "He shared." The mother's eyes softened for a moment, but then hardened again. "Kindness is a mask. Remember what the elders say." Across the settlement, similar conversations echoed. Fear battled with curiosity. Suspicion wrestled with hope. And in the middle of it all, the human child sat quietly in the small shelter the aliens had given him. He didn't know of the whispers. He didn't know of the council's anger. He only remembered the laughter of the children, the way their faces had lit up, the way he had felt less alone. He hugged himself, smiling faintly. For him, the candy was gone, but the bond remained. Back in the great hall, the debate grew louder. "We must forbid our children from meeting the human," one elder demanded. "If he stays, he may poison more minds," another added. "Or hearts," the oldest muttered, his eyes narrowing. But then, a softer voice rose. It belonged to an elder with deep blue skin, her eyes gentle. "And what if this is not poison? What if it is a bridge? Children do not think of power. They think of play. If a human child can laugh with ours, perhaps we should learn from them." The hall quieted. For the first time, doubt entered their hearts, not only fear. The two older children shifted uneasily. They had expected the elders to punish the human, to banish him. But now the room was divided. Some wanted protection. Some wanted to listen. The decision was not clear. Meanwhile, outside the hall, the alien children who had tasted candy gathered again in secret. They whispered about the human child, about his smile, about the way he had given without asking for anything in return. One boy with wings spread his feathers proudly. "He is not an enemy. He is my friend." "Yes," the silver-skinned girl agreed. "He is different, but he is kind." They held the empty wrappers like sacred objects, proof of a moment that no elder could erase. The bond was strong, and it was growing. But bonds between children are fragile when the weight of adults presses down. The elders' words would soon shape the future. Would they allow this friendship to grow, or would they tear it apart? The human child did not know. He only dreamed of laughter, unaware that outside the world was preparing to judge him. The elders' debate stretched into the night. Their voices clashed under the glowing orbs, fear against hope, memory against possibility. And when the first light of dawn touched the crystal hall, one truth became clear. The human child had done something no one expected. He had shaken the walls of fear with nothing more than a piece of candy, and the adults could not agree on whether that was a miracle or a threat. The alien world had many cities, many homes, and many voices. News often moved slowly, carried by whispers and stories. But this news was different. It spread like fire. A human child had shared something strange, something sweet, something unforgettable. At first, it was only the playground children who told the tale. They carried their shiny wrappers home, holding them like treasure. They spoke of a taste that sparkled in their mouths, of laughter that filled the air, of a boy who gave freely. Their words reached their parents, their neighbors, and soon entire streets buzzed with curiosity. "What is this? Candy?" some asked. "Sweetness in food?" Others whispered. "Is it a trick?" Many warned. The story traveled to markets where merchants argued. Some scoffed. "Humans only bring danger." Others leaned forward, eyes wide. But what if it is true? What if humans can give joy? The elders tried to quiet the voices, but whispers are hard to silence. One elder walked through the streets and heard a group of children singing a new rhyme. "Sweet, sweet, sweet, the human gave us a treat." The elder's face darkened. To him it was dangerous. Songs carried power. Once a song began, it was impossible to stop. Meanwhile, the human child remained unaware of the storm his small act had created. In his little shelter, he traced pictures on the ground, wrappers, candy, smiling faces. He remembered the laughter, and that memory was enough to keep him warm. But outside, the world was changing. In one distant village, alien children begged their parents, "Take us to the playground. We want to see the human. We want to taste what they tasted." Parents argued with each other. "It is too dangerous." "No, it is a chance to learn. Candy today, weapons tomorrow." Fear clashed with hope in every household. The alien markets soon filled with imitations. Clever traders tried to create their own candy from glowing fruits and strange powders. But none could match the human sweetness. Children spat the copies out, shaking their heads. "Not the same," they said. "Not like his." The legend was growing. Some adults grew angry. They gathered in the council hall, demanding action. "Our children sing of humans. They crave their gifts. This must end before it poisons their hearts." But others grew quiet, thoughtful. "Our children smile when they speak of him. Is that poison or is it hope?" The council split again. Fear on one side, wonder on the other. And still the whispers traveled. The two older children who had reported the human now felt uneasy. They had expected the story to end quickly with punishment. Instead, it had spread beyond their control. They heard younger children chanting the human's name. They saw alien parents struggling to silence their kids' laughter. The older children wondered if they had unleashed something larger than they imagined. In the playground itself, the younger aliens returned secretly. They gathered around the human child, bringing him their own gifts: small glowing stones, crystal leaves, orbits of light. They wanted to give him something in return. The human accepted each gift with a smile, though he did not fully understand their value. To him, the real treasure was not the objects but the feeling: friendship. One night, the winged boy sat beside him and whispered, "The world knows your name now. They call you the sweet human." The human laughed softly. He didn't understand the words fully, but the tone made him smile. Above them, the stars blinked, silent witnesses to something bigger than either child could grasp. Far away, in a city of glass towers, alien scholars began to debate. They had studied humans before, from afar, through reports and warnings. But now they argued over something new. "Humans use weapons," one scholar said. "Yes, but this one used candy," another replied. "A weapon of sugar," a third muttered darkly. "Or a gift of peace," countered another. The argument echoed across the city walls. Seeds had been planted. Small, fragile, but powerful. In homes, in markets, in schools, in council halls, the story repeated, "The human child gave us candy." Each telling twisted slightly. Some painted him as a trickster, others as a hero. But no matter the version, one truth remained. No one could ignore it. The children carried the story like a banner. Their laughter was proof that fear could be broken. The adults carried the story like a question. Was this the start of danger or the start of peace? The human child, sitting in his small shelter, did not know his act had already changed the world. He had given sweetness, but what he truly gave was choice, and choice is powerful. It can divide, it can unite. Now the alien world stood on the edge of both. Time is a river. It flows quietly, but it never stops. The day the human child shared his candy became a memory, then a story, and finally, a legend. Years passed on the alien world. The children who once gathered in the glowing playground grew taller, stronger, and wiser. Their bodies changed with age, but their hearts carried something that no elder could erase. The taste of sweetness, the memory of laughter, the image of a small human holding out his hand. They still remembered. The silver-skinned girl, now grown into a leader of her people, often touched a small wrapper she had kept hidden for years. Its color had faded, but when she held it, she could still remember the taste, the joy, the friendship. To her, it was not paper. It was a symbol. The winged boy became a scout flying over forests and valleys. In quiet moments, he still hummed the tune of the rhyme the children had once sung. Sweet, sweet, sweet. The human gave us a treat. The song carried him back to the day when fear had turned to laughter. Even the shy, dark-eyed child who had not received candy remembered the human's empty hand. That simple touch had taught him more than any gift. Kindness needed no object. It lived in actions. He carried that lesson into adulthood. The memory lived in them all. And yet not everyone carried it with warmth. The two older children who had reported the human to the elders also grew. Their suspicion did not fade. It hardened. They remembered the joy of the others with bitterness. To them, the candy was not sweetness, it was weakness. They believed the children had been fooled, blinded by sugar, tricked by a human. As they grew into young leaders, their voices spread fear. Do not trust humans, they warned. They hide knives behind smiles. They use sweetness to make you forget their power. Thus the world became divided. Some saw the human child as a friend who had offered peace with his small act of sharing. Others saw him as the beginning of a dangerous path. The story was told in two tones, one soft with laughter, one sharp with warning. But one thing was certain, the story was never forgotten. The elders too remembered. Some had passed away, but others still lived, watching the new generation argue about humans. The oldest elder, his eyes dim but sharp, often said, "One day we must decide if the memory of sweetness is stronger than the memory of fear." The human child himself grew too. He returned to his own world one day, carrying his own memories of alien laughter. He never forgot the glowing playground, the silver eyes, the sound of wings, the touch of a small alien hand in his own. When he looked at candy, he no longer thought of sugar. He thought of friendship. And across the stars in the alien cities, his name was remembered. Not his true name, for that was lost in translation, but the name the children gave him, the sweet human. The legend spread beyond the playground, beyond the village, beyond the council. It reached scholars, travelers, and even warriors. Some laughed at the tale. A human changed our world with candy? Impossible. Others grew quiet. Sometimes small acts shape greater destinies. Generations began to repeat the story. Parents told it to children at night. Teachers spoke of it in schools. The wrappers were shown like relics in secret corners, but always the story ended with a question. What happens next? For while many celebrated the legend of the sweet human, others prepared for something darker. In the shadows of the alien world, whispers grew of those who hated humans. They did not forget the candy either, but to them it was proof of human cunning. Never trust them, they hissed. We will not be fooled again. Thus the act of a child lived on in two ways, one as hope, one as suspicion. And yet, even divided, the story had power. It could not be erased. One evening, as stars filled the alien sky, the now-grown silver-skinned leader stood at the playground where it all began. The crystal trees still glowed. The floating orbs still drifted. She placed the faded wrapper on the ground, whispering softly, "We remember." Children still played there, laughing, singing the rhyme of sweetness. Their voices carried into the night just as they had years ago. Far away in the darkness of space, other humans stirred, preparing journeys, building ships. The alien world would meet them again one day, and when that day came, the memory of candy would rise once more, either as a bridge of peace or a spark of conflict. The future was uncertain, but one truth was clear. The human child had shared his candy, and the alien children had never forgotten, and the galaxy never would.